Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Table Flippers Podcast, Ministry of Greater Works Christian Church, right here in beautiful Lancaster, California. I am your host, Robert Enos. Here I will discuss theology, doctrine, politics, social and cultural issues, pretty much anything I feel like talking about. But basically, I flip tables. Please remember to download each episode. That's very important. Download each episode. Hold on tight. It's going to be a bumpy ride. I have some news to share with all of you. I'm not going to say that this is necessarily good news, at least all the way around. There's a huge portion of this story that's great news, in my opinion. But I'm not going to call it good news only because I don't know the person's heart or what their mindset is behind all of this. And well, let me just explain to you what I mean. I have right here on my tablet an article, and the article title is Utah Doctor, Others Charged with Giving Saline Shots Instead of a Controversial COVID Vaccine. And of course, again, I will leave the link in the description for this particular episode so that you can click on it and go and read this if you want. And this is kind of a strange article since it's really two articles in one, and neither article is very long at all. As a matter of fact, the first article, and again, on the screen page on the website, it's just all on one page as if it's one article, but it's really two articles. And the first portion of the article, or the first article, again, Utah doctor and others charged with giving saline shots instead of controversial COVID vaccine. And this is by Pamela Geller on January 21, 2023. So just a few days ago. And it simply opens up like this. Hero. Here we see a doctor following the most basic foundational precept of Hippocratic Oath, perhaps the most widely known of Greek medical texts, oath. First, do no harm. And that's the whole portion of that, at least that part of the article. That's it. And Pamela Geller says this, hero. I'm assuming by the context of this that she is calling this doctor a hero and those that are associated with him that helped him. And honestly, that's the part of this that I understand and I appreciate and I even agree. If truly this doctor was not giving the COVID shot to children because, and I'm assuming because he understood how dangerous it was, and he instead gave them a non-dangerous, non-lethal, completely safe saline shot, he's a hero in my book. He saved a lot of lives in my opinion, and not just lives, but future problems, medical problems and issues and sicknesses and disease in these young people as it would unfold in the years to come. And, you know, I said this early on. I said this early on. I don't think I said it in a podcast, but I did say this early on. I put it on social media and such. What about the Hippocratic Oath? And what about that? What about this oath that all these doctors and medical professionals take as they're becoming licensed and such, and before they can launch themselves out into the medical community in the medical world and start practicing medicine? They take this Hippocratic Oath. Part of that Hippocratic Oath is first do no harm. They swear and they take this oath that everything that they do in the medical field is to benefit and help somebody else. And then we're stuck in this world where all of these vaccines are giving to our children, and now this COVID shot that have detrimental, sometimes life-threatening repercussions because of a direct result of these medicines and drugs and vaccines that doctors are giving to children. And then on top of that, a little off subject, but not completely, you have all these medical doctors that are in this, what do they call it? Sex transition therapy, and literally to the point that they will take a child, put them under the knife, cut off certain parts of their body, reshape them and put them on so that those that were born biological male can now at least look like a female, or vice versa. Those biological females can now look like a male. So they're mutilated. Their bodies are mutilated by these so-called doctors that took this Hippocratic Oath. And part of that oath, in a nutshell, is to do nobody any harm, but be there for them for their ultimate good and help them as much as humanly possible. Well, how is mutilating children before they even understand what's going on in themselves or in the world around them? How is mutilating them doing anybody any good, especially these children? When I tell people, I do my best to not go to the doctor. I have a chiropractor, nutritionist, and he's a holistic kind of a doctor, and I go to him because I trust him, and I do my best to stay away from doctors. And when I have to go to a doctor, if you want to call him my primary doctor, I don't know where we come up with these terms. My primary doctor is somebody who actually cares about me and other people. But I do have a quote-unquote primary doctor that actually is very, very good. I'm going to go into detail with him simply because I didn't get permission from him. But he's a fantastic dude. He is a fantastic dude, okay? He went through a lot because he didn't agree with these shots. He didn't agree with the masks. He didn't agree with the shutdowns and such. And so he went through a lot. He was under scrutiny a great deal. So I appreciate him. So I trust him in that area. But my primary doctor is somebody that actually cares about me and will approach it holistically, my health and the health of his health and the health of others, holistically, the way God intended. So anyways, let's get back to this. Pamela Geller, January 21, 2023, puts this out, calls this doctor who did not give the COVID shots out to children, but instead saline shots, called him a hero. And I agree. Now, again, I don't know this man. I don't know his whole motive, his whole background, but I do know that right there was a good thing. Instead of giving these children something that will mess them up physically for the rest of their lives, give them something that's harmless, a saline shot. Now, as I said, this one article was really two articles together, so let me read you the next article, and it simply says this, the title, Utah surgeon, others accused of destroying vaccines and giving fake shots to children. Again, just the title tells me this guy's a hero. I like him. And this portion of this article is by Derek Fox of The Hill, January 21, 2023. So these were both published on the same day. And again, I'm assuming on the same website, in the same format and such. Anyways, it says Salt Lake City, Utah, KTVX, a Utah plastic surgeon. So this guy's a plastic surgeon. A Utah plastic surgeon, his neighbor, and two others are facing charges in connection with allegations that they gave people fake vaccination cards and destroyed government-provided COVID-19 vaccinations. They're also accused of giving children fake COVID-19 shots. Again, right there, that was just like what the first two sentences of this article. And I'm saying, praise God that there was somebody out there with the courage to do something like this. Put his business on the line, put his life on the line, put his reputation on the line for the good of other people. In other words, here's a doctor and a plastic surgeon, nonetheless. But here's a doctor that's actually, at least in this area of his practice, living up to the Hippocratic Oath, living up to the oath that he took. I don't know about you other doctors, medical providers. I just stopped over at a local pharmacy. We used to call them drugstores back in the day, but a pharmacy to look for something. And there's people walking around in there in masks. Okay, whatever. Maybe there's something. Maybe they're sick and they don't want to give it to other people. Maybe because they're in a pharmacy, they think everybody else is sick and don't want to get it. That's their freedom. I still think it's borderline, if not completely, mental illness by now. But I saw the people that work in this pharmacy. They work in the pharmacy. They work in the medical field, still wearing masks and gloves and face shields, after everything that we know. And so if you and I can go on the internet, or you and I can just pick up the truth by what real doctors, virologists, immunologists are saying, if you and I could figure it out, which we are and which we have, then why can't people in the actual medical field that know how masks work, how face shields work, how viruses work, how these so-called, vaccines that aren't vaccines, how they really work or don't work? So if you and I could figure it out, because we take the time to, what about people in the medical field that still don't get it? I mean, I don't know about you. Do you trust your health to somebody who at this point still does not get it? I mean, I wouldn't. That's why I'm very selective about who I put my, put my hands, put my life in their hands. And I go to somebody who I know, at least, number one, cares enough about me to get the truth, teach the truth, work the truth, so that I can actually be better. And both of the doctors that I see are in that place. Anyways, let me go on with this article. It goes on to say, according to court documents, Dr. Michael Kirk Moore Jr., 58, and 3 others allegedly ran a scheme out of Plastic Surgery Institute of Utah, Incorporated, to defraud the United States and the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC. The documents say Moore and his neighbor, Kristen Jackson Anderson, of 59, were members of a private organization seeking to, and in parentheses says, liberate the medical profession from government and industry conflicts of interest. The pair, along with office manager Carrie D. Burgoyne, 52, and receptionist Sandra Flores, 31, are accused of destroying at least $28,000 worth of COVID-19 vaccinations and distributing at least 1,900 doses worth of fake completed vaccination record cards. The court documents allege the fake vaccination cards were sold either for direct cash payments of $50 per person per occurrence or required donations to a specific charitable organization. The documents estimate the fake vaccination cards have a total value of $97,000. Moore and his co-defendants are also accused of giving children saline shots at the request of their parents so the children would think they were receiving the COVID-19 vaccine. I'm going to come back to that part. By allegedly falsifying vaccine records and administering saline shots to children instead of COVID-19 vaccines, not only did this provider endanger the health of well-being and vulnerable population, but also undermined public trust and the integrity of federal health care programs, said Kurt L. Mueller, special agent in charge with the Department of Health and Human Services, Office of the Inspector General. That guy has quite a title, doesn't he? Moore and his co-defendants and the Plastic Surgery Institute have been charged with conspiracy to defraud the United States, conspiracy to convert, sell, convey, and dispose of government property, and conversion, sale, conveyance, and disposal of government property and aiding and abetting. The defendants are scheduled to appear in court January 26th at 2 p.m. So this basically just gave a rundown of everything else that was going on with this doctor. Now, I don't know about the other things that he allegedly did. I don't know, if he was just selling these cards for just to make a quick buck, these fake vaccine cards. I don't know if he did that. At this point in the game, with everything that we've known and everything that we've seen and the way we've been lied to, deceived, defrauded by our own government, I really don't care, to be honest with you. I honestly really don't care. Under normal circumstances, I am somebody that I do my best to uphold the law. I do my best to toe that mark, to walk that line. I do my best to not step over. I don't want to break the law and such. But when our very government no longer has our best interests at heart, and their policies are no longer policies that benefit you and me, but are policies of destruction and death, and policies of deception and lie, then when somebody comes along and defrauds them after they've defrauded all of us for so long, I'm not saying what this gentleman did was right. I'm not saying what this group did was okay. I'm just saying that it's hard for me to muster up an ounce of care or compassion for those in our government that have been lying to us for so long. So this gentleman, this Mr. Kurt L. Mueller, special agent in charge of the Department of Health and Human Services. I mean, what a big, long title to make him sound like he's actually somebody important. Special agent? Special agent? Since when does the Department of Health and Human Services have special agents? I thought that was special agent was a title given to the FBI or people of that nature in actual real law enforcement. So here's this dude running around with this title of special agent, flashing his fake gun and his fake badge and bringing up all these charges, allegedly falsifying vaccine records and administering saline shots to children instead of vaccine 19. I mean, come on, really? At least in that portion of this story, this doctor, in my opinion, is a hero. He's a hero. He didn't want to give these children a deadly drug. And as a matter of fact, where was it? Moore and his co-defendants, I'm reading from the article again, something I just read. Moore and his co-defendants are also accused of giving children saline shots at, listen to this, ladies and gentlemen, at the request of their parents. So the children would think they were receiving COVID-19 vaccine. So these parents, oh my gosh, these parents actually stood up and started acting like parents, cared and loved their children enough to, instead of allowing them to receive a so-called vaccine that could literally kill them, cause them even at young ages to have heart attacks or some kind of heart problems, blood clots, reproductive issues, possibly for the rest of their lives, instead of giving them or allowing them to take that shot. Hey, doc, psst. Hey, come here, give my kid a saline shot, something that's completely harmless, something that won't hurt them, something that won't give them immediate or long-lasting problems. We'll just tell them they got the COVID shot. Now, why would a parent, think about this and ask yourself this question, why would a parent even care in that regard about, hey, psst, doc, tell them they got the regular shot, but give them the saline? Listen, we live in this world where if that kid, right, okay, let's say that mom took the kid, talked to the doctor, and said, hey, doc, I don't want these kids getting any shots. And the doctor said, okay, take this fake, we'll just fill it out and make it look like he's had all of his shots and just show this to the school, okay? All that kid would have to do is either on the playground or in the class or something, you know how kids are, talk about how he didn't get the shot, about how all that was fake. His mom paid somebody off, or he doesn't know where that came from. He doesn't know where that came from because he never got no shot. So instead of putting the child in that place or causing a bigger problem or, opening the door for the child to actually say something to somebody at the wrong person at the wrong time, psst, doc, hey, give him a saline shot so I can get the card that says he got the shot. He'll never know the difference. He's not going to go tell everybody, hey, everybody, it's a saline shot, because he won't know. It'll keep the school off my back. Kid will be okay. Everybody will be happy, and nobody will be the wiser. Unfortunately, this guy got caught. And I say unfortunately because, like I said, I don't like it when people break the law. But at the same time, when the law works against the very people that it's supposed to protect, then there will be those who say enough is enough. We're done playing these games, and they will break the law. And rightfully so. Rightfully so. So again, this man, in my opinion, at least in that area, I don't know about the rest, if he truly was giving these saline shots to children, especially at the request of their parents, these children's parents, he's a hero in my book. And instead of being drug in court, at least on that charge, they should be making a statue for him and setting it up outside every doctor, hospital, and medical clinic in Utah. He should be the new poster boy for the Hippocratic Oath, because all these other doctors that just kept sticking this garbage in the veins of these children, they failed at every level. They failed. As a matter of fact, like I said, I went over to the pharmacy today, and actually I was in a Walmart at one point, and they have a pharmacy there, and there's a big sign: "Come and get your COVID and your immunizations and your COVID shots." And the question again I ask is, with everything we know, how is it that these pharmacies, how is it that these businesses are still pushing a shot, a jab that could be potentially deadly and causes blood clots, strokes, heart attacks? There are some doctors that are warning that it's causing an increase in cancer. It's causing cancers to spread and grow even more quickly than otherwise. It's causing reproductive problems in women, and they still don't know the long-term effects on this. This is just the short-term effects over the last 2, maybe 3 years for some people. So can you imagine what we're going to see in the next 10 years? And I already told you, and I I seen this again. I looked it up. I saw it again. There's some doctors, there are some that believe. As a matter of fact, I read it to you and left the link in one of my earlier podcasts. So go listen to all of them, find it. But there's some doctors that say, listen, 3 to 5 years from the time the person starts getting those shots, within, let's say, 5 years, because he said 3 to 5 years, some believe all of them will be gone directly because of the shot. Some believe up to 70%. So 70 to 100% of the people that got the shot, got the jab, in many doctors' eyes, are going to be gone. When I say gone, died of either heart attack, stroke, some blood clot issues and problems, cancer, whatever. And even as I'm saying this, my heart is breaking because so many people bought into the lie, into the narrative that this was going to save them, this was going to keep them healthy, this was going to keep them whole. It was being pushed. As a matter of fact, I saw some video clips of Fauci, of the head of the CDC, our own President Biden, all saying, get the shot and it will stop COVID in its tracks. Get the shot and it's over. You don't have to worry about it. You can get back to life. A little while later, when they started seeing that it wasn't working, well, if you get the shot and then a booster, you might still get COVID, but it won't be as bad. Well, wait a minute, ladies and gentlemen. I am no expert on this, but I know enough about the way vaccines are at least supposed to work. They're supposed to work. That if you get a vaccine, you're supposed to be pretty much 100% covered for that particular disease. They keep pointing at polio. See, we've pretty much wiped out polio from the entire globe because of these vaccines. Okay, you want to point out polio vaccines and say that's why polio has practically been eradicated from the earth. Praise God. Don't use that to try to get people to take a vaccine or a shot. I'm sorry, it's not a vaccine, a shot for COVID when they can still get COVID. Don't use any other vaccine that's had some success as the reason why they should take this experimental drug that's not working, and actually the drug itself is killing people and it's not keeping people from getting COVID or dying even from COVID. It's a failed drug. It's a failed... God, you know what? Again, I know I said this a little while ago. I thought Jimmy Carter was going to go down in history as the worst president ever. He was a terrible president. I know some people say he's a great man. No, he was a terrible president. He might be a great dude now, but he was a terrible president. Then Obama comes around, and then I said, wait a minute, now, I don't know. I mean, Jimmy Carter and Obama, I mean, they're like neck and neck for the worst president ever. And when Obama was was no longer running and he was out of office, I sat back one day and I was like, I don't know who's worse. And they're both pretty bad. And I said, but I have to kind of give it to Obama. It's like, Jimmy Carter, hey, I was told I was the worst president ever. Obama comes, hey, hold my beer. And he wanted to show everybody what he could do. But they were still very, very close, in my opinion. And then Biden rolls around. Biden, oh my gosh, it's like he pulled out all the stops on how to be a bad president. How to lie, how to cheat, how to deceive, how to destroy the economy, how to lie to the American people, how to destroy lives. And in my opinion, ladies and gentlemen, he should be held accountable for the deaths, all the deaths in America from this COVID thing since he took office. From COVID itself, when they said, oh, this person died of COVID, well, that's Biden's fault. Why? Well, let me tell you why. Because he was in charge, and he was the final voice in denying people treatments that actually worked and had a good track record and success. He pushed this so-called vaccine, this COVID-19 shot. He pushed it and pushed it and pushed it. Even said, if you get the shot, it's over. You have nothing else to worry about. Then he had to backtrack and go back. Well, if you get the shot, and some boosters, you'll get COVID possibly, but it won't be as bad. At least it won't kill you. And then people started dying. He lied and deceived. Now, I know there was Fauci and all these other people, but they all worked for Biden. Biden was the president. He should be held accountable. So anyways, let me get back to this. So we have this articles that I read, the first one, just really, it's like one word, hero, and then one sentence, ending with a portion of the Hippocratic Oath. First, do no harm. I mean, it's amazing to me. This is amazing to me. So, anyways, when I was trying to find this particular article, because I read it the other day, and I was going to do a podcast the other day, but I decided to do some other things. I wanted to find the article again, and I actually did not find the original article that I was going to share on the podcast. But I typed in the search engine, Utah doctor gave saline shots instead of COVID shots. That's what I typed in, and it's so interesting. The article that I read, or the articles that I just read to you, popped up, of course. But I have one here again. Utah plastic surgeon gave kids saline shots. That's another from another news source. So it's in there. So now we have two. Then there's this. Some people got saline shots instead of COVID vaccine at a North Carolina clinic. Okay, so this is another state and another story. So here in this clinic, this medical clinic, they were giving away, somebody was there, and a limited number of patients, I guess it was a Walgreens. And this goes all the way back to April 19th, 2021. But they were giving out saline shots instead of the COVID vaccine, or COVID shot, COVID poison. Thank God. Then another one. This is from WebMD.com. German nurse suspected of giving saline instead of COVID vaccine. So this goes back to August 13th of 2021. In Germany, a nurse in Germany was giving saline solutions instead of the COVID-19 shot. And it says here, just in the little title caption on the top, more than 8,500 people at the vaccination center were given saline. Again, here's another story about the German nurse, the Utah doctor. So anyways, there's several articles, at least 3 that I'm seeing in 3 different times, 3 different places, North Carolina, Germany, and then now in Utah, where doctors, nurses, and medical professionals were giving saline solution shots instead of COVID-19 shots. Now, I didn't read all of the articles. I don't know everything about them. I don't know why they did it, exactly what they did it for. But I can tell you that at least in that area, especially with children, they're heroes. They should be hailed as heroes. Now, if they did other things that were wrong, bad, wicked, evil, whatever, round them up and put them in jail for that. But for this, it's like one of those things, where you're watching one of those crime shows and somebody they get popped for, I don't know, grand theft. And, you're facing 20 years. But if you tell us who your accomplices are, we'll go easy on you. That's the way I view this. You gave saline solution instead of COVID-19 shots to children. We're going to go easy on you because of that. We'll consider that. So instead of your 20-year sentence, we'll give you a 10-year sentence because they saved a bunch of lives, whether they meant to or not. Maybe they didn't mean to do it, but they could have and most likely saved a lot of lives, or at least a lot of medical nightmares with these children in their lives. And as that one lady said, hero! I agree. That's heroic, especially in the world that we live in right now. Because right here in my own hometown, just the common man walking down the street, we were told if you don't have a mask, if you're even outside, there was one point, if you're outside, you're going to be fined. I think originally they started saying you're going to be arrested, but our local sheriff's department says, no, we don't have the time, the energy, or the place to just drive around arresting people for being outside. Oh, okay, then they changed it. Well, if you don't have a mask, you're going to be arrested. And the sheriff's department, no, I'm sorry, we're still not going to do that. No, we're not going to do that. And okay. Well, if you don't have a mask on, then you're going to be fined up to $1,500. Okay, but who's going to drive around and enforce that? Nobody did. Why? Because decent people with common sense and a brain in their head, our local sheriff's department, and some, not all, but some in the medical field, understood just how ridiculous all of this stuff was. We live in the United States of America, ladies and gentlemen, still. I know it doesn't feel like it, but we still live in the United States of America. We still have this document called the Constitution. We have the Bill of Rights, Constitution. It's supposed to be about we the people, and we all have constitutional rights that the Constitution itself did not give us those rights. God gave us those rights. The Constitution just outlines them. God-given right. And what you put in your body, that's up to you. Nobody has the right to tell you what you put in your body. What you put in your body, all right? So when the government comes along and says, no, you have to take this shot, when the boss comes along and says, you have to take this shot, when the mayor of a city says, no, you have to take this shot, sorry, no, I don't. That's unconstitutional to even try to force that on me. If I want to take it, I'll take it. If not, sorry, I'm not taking it. I didn't take it, and I refuse to wear a mask. And that made a lot of people upset. But guess what? Here I am alive. And some, not all, but some of those people that were so upset at me for not getting the shot, not wearing masks, and not being afraid. They wanted me to be as afraid as they were. Some of those people are no longer with us. And ultimately, it was their fear that killed them, because it was their fear that led them to do things that gave them blood clots, stroke, heart attacks, and such. And I'm still here. And the people that stood strong, well, we're still here, and we're still standing strong. And with that, I just want to say, God bless America, and I thank God for the freedom that He has given us. Thank you again for joining us at Table Flippers. Please check out our merchandise. We have hats, hoodies, water bottles, all kinds of cool things. You can find all of our merchandise at tableflippers.com. That's tableflippers.com. And please write me. Please let me know how I'm doing. Write me at gwccrobert, that's one word, gwccrobert@gmail.com. Give me the good letters, give me the bad letters, tell me the great things I'm doing, tell me the bad things I'm doing. I want to hear it all. Have a great day.
Table Flippers is flipping awesome.